Hi guys, I got some strawberries from one of my friends. Ta-da! And some thyme, and I wanted to plant it and mix within it the compost that I want to use from Ace, from all the plants that I gathered up. So I'm going to show you this project of planting the strawberries. Some of the plants from Ace that are going to get mixed in with my strawberries. First thing I need to do is gather up all the leaves and the mulch and set it aside, and then dig out a little bit of the dirt because I want to mix in the good soil from the pots. So I'm going to clear that out first. I cleared out the mulch and the extra dirt, which is now in these pots, and there's the mulch. And then I broke up the pots and spread them out, and then when I put the new strawberries in, I'll be able to mix it in. So there is a lot of nice soil. So I've planted a couple of plants and I'm spreading some of the dirt that I took out over the top of the vermiculite. And look how pretty these are. They're even having strawberries on them. So I'm just digging the holes and planting them right in. And then I just take some of the dirt I took out and sprinkle it around. So what I added from the pots from Ace is mixed in a little bit. And then we have much more healthy soil for our strawberries. Pretty cool? Mm-hmm. Thanks, bud. Okay, I think I basically doubled my strawberries. All the strawberries are in. I've put the mulch back in and got them nice and wet. So they're all happy. And look what I just spotted while I was watering. There's a raspberry. On November 11th, we have raspberries too. And these strawberries that are on here, let's see if I can find them. Strawberries that are on here that I planted, oh, it's on this plant. They'll probably still have time to ripen too, because it hasn't gotten quite cold yet. So anyway, there's the first planting project with the extra pots from Ace used as additional soil. What do you guys think? Okay, so I'm just breaking these apart. I'm dumping them in and taking out the tags and then just breaking them in pieces. So I've got all these sorted and then we're just breaking them down. So it's one big wheelbarrow full of all
dirt.
Yeah, of all these pots. And then I'm going to mix in another bag of the potting soil and some worm castings. Ta-da! I emptied all of these pots into the wheelbarrow, so it's pretty much 2/3 full of those pots. And then I dumped a bag of potting soil, and I'm going to mix in some worm casings, and this is going to go in my garden boxes. Here I did a layer of what I mixed in the wheelbarrow. And then see how that box is totally full of dirt? Connor did a project making a little greenhouse and he made a very large hole. So we had a lot of dirt and it was probably, I'd say, about that tall. So maybe like 3 cubic feet of dirt. So I did a layer of what was in the wheelbarrow, a layer of that dirt, and then another layer of the wheelbarrow and more dirt on top. So you can see this is what it looks like from the wheelbarrow in this box and this one, and then the long skinny one. So I'm going to sprinkle the dirt from Connor's project on top, and then a little bit more after I do another mix in the wheelbarrow, and these will all have lots more nutrients in them, ready for planting in the spring. All right guys, this is the last wheelbarrow full. I broke up all these pots and then put in more of the potting soil, leaves, and worm castings. And I'm gonna just dump it throughout all of these planter boxes out here. So I just lightly sprinkle it and then I'm gonna water and get it down a little bit deeper, but it's just a light layer of tossing all this out onto the plants.
And it smells divine.
It smells what?
Divine.
What does it smell like?
Worms.
You like how worms smell? They're really good for the dirt, huh? If we have worms in our dirt, it means our dirt's really good. Okay, so that was another 4 hours of work today. So I'll let you know what the final tally is, but I was able to break up all the potting soil in the little pots and get it all mixed in. And I will keep you posted with the next project. Okay, that great big pile turned into just these 3 flats and 2 little containers. And I have mulch all along that side and all along that side, and all the garden boxes are full. And look at all these. This is all what used to have pretty plants in them and are now planted or spread all over our yard. And this little bit, it's lettuce and like Swiss chard and stuff, and thyme. And then I've got some peppers and some more lettuce and things that I will rescue, but that's all that's left out of that ginormous pile. Wahoo! I just got this planter from my neighbor, and now it is nice and full. It was chilling in his front yard, not being utilized, and I said, hey, can I please have that? And he said, yes. So I filled it up. And then in this planter, I did a couple extra. These little guys and those little guys are a daisy. So we'll see what they do. I'm going to cover this with mulch over the winter, so maybe they'll winter over. And then I also put them in here along this whole planter. They're awfully cute, and they're doing really well with not a ton of water, and they're pretty dang bright green. So I'm wondering what they'll do over the winter. But anyway, I planted a bunch of things, and we will see what happens. How do you like our awesome northern Nevada wind? I'm going to plant these flats in between the stones, and some of them poke up a little bit, so I need to dig them down before I put the thyme in between, but this will be all filled in with pretty thyme. Check it out. I wanted to show you what I've done so far. So this is the kind of plant where, whoop, I almost tripped on the plants. It's just a big flat like this, and you just peel this apart to be able to plant it. So I just kind of peel off a piece and loosen it a little bit, and then just put it right in between the cracks. And then, so you can see, then I just pat dirt over the top, and I will get it nice and wet. But this will just spread and grow in between the stones now. Isn't that cool? Okay, the 2 flats are planted, and I watered on top, and it's supposed to rain this weekend, so that will help settle it down even more. But you can see it's filled in between really well. I was able to do to about right here, and then I ran out, but that little part I can add in the spring. But anyway, what do you think? How does it look? Spin around and you can see from here. Ta-da! So that's all nice and filled in. And this is kind of fun. So the same neighbor that gave me the planter that has the petunias in it also gave me this one, and it was empty, and I was able to put some of the dirt, or fill it up with the dirt that was from digging in between the stones on the project I just finished. So get some more dirt. Now I get to dig up our carrots. See these little guys that are mixed in? There's 1, 2, oh my gosh, probably 10 in there. Dig up the carrots, and I need to pick all these tomatoes because this weekend is supposed to be really bad frost, so I'm going to pick the tomatoes. And this is full of potatoes, so I'm going to dig up the potatoes, and then I can plant lettuce that I got from Ace in here and in the greenhouse. So stay tuned. This is the pile that came out of this little area, and now that I picked the carrots, these hollyhocks will have a much better chance of growing. So that cleared up some space picking the carrots. And then over here, look at this huge one. It's ginormous. This little pile came out of this little corner, Kelly's little corner. So these are all bonus carrots from when my dad helped fix our fence when the wind blew it over. If you couldn't tell, we have pretty strong wind around here. Okay, I've got the potatoes picked, some of the tomatoes, and the carrots. These are all bonus plants because they popped up in my compost and I just let them be. The carrots came because my dad was helping me with our fence and the seeds blew off his back and grew. The tomatoes popped up because they were in the compost and then I moved them. And all these potatoes, when we get eyes on our potatoes, I put them in the bin and then they grow. And I put in some that is left to plant and then a couple more things, but as you can see it is really windy. This is a fun find too. Check out what Kelly and I found on our walk this morning. They were just chilling on the side of the road. I'll share a cute little picture for holding them, but it's probably like 8 marigold plants. Yay for marigold seeds. I actually don't remember what kind these are, so I'm just gonna dump them in and find out later. But these are some of the seeds. They look like they could be cosmo seeds. It's kind of a combination of things. Anyway, tossing those in there. And then I've got gaillardia that I got from a friend. I have these in my yard, but hers were way bigger. And if you gather seeds from a plant that is really big and happy, you're gonna get really big, happy plants. So I wanted hers. So I'm gonna break all these up and stick those in there. So that's gaillardia. And then these are asters of some sort. It's a really pretty purpley color. And ouch, that's pokey. These little guys are the seeds. These little black ones. Actually, these are cosmos. They are not asters. Now that I'm looking at the seeds more closely, see these little guys? Those are the seeds. So I'm gonna put cosmos in there. And then I've also got, these are a mystery plant that grow next to all the soccer fields. So I need to look them up to give you guys the name. But they're really pretty bright yellow and they have these, can you see the seeds, Kelbo? They have these little brown seeds. So I'm gonna break those up in there. And then I showed you those. And these are allium seeds. These are really cool. They look like little, it actually looks a lot like dill. So it's just these little pods inside. And then the individual flowers, but those are the pods in there. So I'm going to break all these up. Oh, and here's more daisies. These are actually really fun to break the seeds off. So you just brush them in your hand and it's all these little guys are the seeds. So I'm going to fill this bucket full of seeds, sprinkle them in the dirt, and then toss this potting soil over the top of them and broadcast these. This is all nice to plant in the fall. They'll have the winter time to cool and then pop up in the spring. So I wanted to show you guys some more seeds I'm doing. So I've got my bucket of seeds full. There's probably about 50 different kinds of seeds in here. And we've got leaves all over the place, just from fall and everything blowing from other people's yards. So I'm just gonna grab a little handful of seeds, kind of break them up a little bit like this, and then grab some of this and sprinkle it over the top and then cover it back up. So I'll just do handfuls of seeds throughout this area and then just cover them up and spread them out and call it good. This is a really simple way of spreading seeds around. So brush the leaves aside, find the dirt, get a little handful. Thanks, buddy. Get a little handful. The potting soil I broke up from the plants I couldn't save from Ace, and then cover it back up. Ta-da! Keep you posted. This is the last of the vegetables that were planted. And I've got one thyme there, and then another one there, and one more at the end. And I'll fill the rest of these with herbs in the springtime. And then here in the greenhouse, my poor greenhouse needs a little love. I'm gonna clean it up. This is my next project. But I've got some more thyme that I got from a friend, and then some tomatoes that are popping up, and some other flowers. These tomatoes have been in here. They just sprouted on their own, and there they are. And then parsley from Ace, and I did some kale and Swiss chard in here, and then the rest, oh, there's fennel. So all the vegetables are planted. Ta-da! And this is where all the carrots ended up. So this is an experiment. We'll see what they do through the winter. I just don't know. It's a gamble most of the time around here. And then this is my compost garden box during the wintertime. So I'll turn all this over. And when we have fruit and vegetables and things that we don't eat, they come out here to the compost, and that's how my plants magically appear. I have compost during the wintertime, and then spring stuff just pops up. All of these tomatoes were volunteers from compost, so I will do it again this year and see how it works. So I'm gonna call it for the day. I get to go in and make some fried egg sandwiches with Kelly, and I will just hang tight because it is very windy, but I got a lot done, and I will keep you posted with the next. Today I worked, it is another 3 hours, so I'm up to 16, I think, so this has been quite the project, but thank you, Ace, for sharing your plants. Another thing I wanted to show you is I've been collecting sweet pea seeds. These are from our yard and then also from walks. So as they dry out, they open up naturally and the seeds just fall to the bottom. But see how I have this cute little fence? I have these kind of all over the yard. So I'm going to plant these all across the bed frame so that when they grow, they'll grow up on the bed frame. Ta-da! Guess what, guys? Look! There isn't a huge mountain of plants. I was able to plant them all, so the driveway is officially free of gazillions of plants. And let me show you something. Ta-da! See, these are all the plants I planted. It was 575 plants, 37 different varieties, and 19 hours. Yes, 19 hours of work to plant all of those plants from Ace. So again, ginormous shout out to Ace. That was so awesome getting all of those. And I hope you guys liked that adventure. Main thing that was so cool about this project is ask around, see when businesses are getting rid of their plants, talk to your neighbors, see if they're wanting to trade and switch things out, and trade plants with each other. I'm going to share in the description what the varieties of all the flowers are so you guys can see exactly what I planted. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed. Happy gardening.